guys, Joel here from the Home Recording Network. Today I want to show you guys why I think you should be using amp sims instead of miking an amp. And a lot of people might fight me on this, but that's okay because I like to go against the grain. So I think there's a lot of reasons why we should be using amp sims over miking amps, and I'm going to go into some of those reasons. But first, I just want to have kind of a shootout between an amp and an amp sim. So I'm going to record some riffs, some clean guitar riffs, and then some distorted guitar riffs. So I have a Fender Deluxe mic'd up in my isolation room. So we'll be using that to record today. And then I'm going to be using the Slate amp sims today for the examples. Okay, so what did we find out here? What I found out, and this was really cool for me because I've never done this before, and I've been basically using amp sims for the last year. I haven't really been miking any amps. So what I found out is that both the amp and the amp sims are great. I like the tone of both of them. So let's really dive in here and take a closer look at this. Okay, so let's take a look at the distorted guitar first. And I EQ'd this a little bit so that they could be a little bit closer in tone. Obviously, we can't get them to sound exactly the same. So let me just expand these a little bit. So we got the distorted amp, and then we have the direct down here. And I'll compare these real quick, and then I'll go through why I really think that the amp sim is better, or you're better off using an amp sim. So let's compare these real quick. So the amp actually sounds a bit more fake to me. I guess maybe it's got more gain on it, but I still like how the amp sounds, and the direct sounds great too. I mean, I really either of these could be a great tone for a song. So I really like both of those. So let's go with the clean now. Let's just take a listen and see how these compare. So I got the clean amp up top, and then I got the direct signal down below. So let's try these out. So both of these sound really great to me, but I think I'm leaning towards the direct tone. I think I like that more, and it just sounds unbelievably real. I mean, that sounds like a real amp, but again, both of these tones could be used in a song. I mean, they would both work. So, since we found out that both of these work, miking an amp or an amp sim, let me go into just why I think you'd be better off investing in amp sims. So, first of all, it has to do with your choices. If you were going into a nice studio, they probably have a ton of amps for you to choose from to record. But when we're working out of our homes, we probably don't have that many choices. I have 3 amps here, but if you use AmpSim software, you have just so many to choose from. So in this Slate plugin that I'm using, I'm using what I have actually mic'd in my isolation room right now. I'm using a Fender type amp. I tried to get the closest tone to what I had in my isolation room, but there are just so many amps to choose from in here. And this is just one plugin. So he's got all these heads and he's also got all these cabinets to choose from. So if these are both great options, miking an amp and using AmpSim software, why wouldn't you choose the cheaper product? If it sounds just as real and you can have more options, why not choose the AmpSim software? My second reason has a little bit to do with the recording process and in the mixing stage. If you mic an amp, you have to be sure that that tone is the right tone for the song. Once you record that track, that is the tone you got. I mean, you could do a little bit of work with EQ and whatnot afterwards, but it's totally different when you're working with amp sims. I like to use amp sims, especially when I'm working with clients, because when we're recording, we can be worried about just getting the best take. We don't have to be worried about where the mic's placed or what the settings on the amp are. We can just get a really nice performance and worry about the tone afterwards. So again, if these are both great options, why not go with the product where you can have a ton of different choices in tones? And like I said, this was just one plugin. I also have the Amplitude plugin, and this plugin's pretty cool too because you can get even more detailed. You can pick the cab you want, the mics you want on the cab. You can actually have room mics here and choose the room you want to record in. You can even change the speakers out in some instances and really just dig in deep to get the best tone possible. And a lot of DAWs have their own software. Logic has its own amp plugin, and I've used them plenty of times to get some nice sounding tones. So that's really it. That's all I wanted to show you. I hope it brought some light to the whole amp sim versus real amp topic. And I hope it showed you that they're both good options, but one option just has some more choices for you and you can get there without spending as much money. Guys, thanks for watching. Make sure to download your free Ultimate Home Studio Mix Guide. I made this for you guys so you could start getting your mixes sounding better. There's a lot of great information in there. And be sure to reach out if you have any questions or if you need any help with your mixes. Thanks.